What's up YouTube, I'm Akio, back with a video. This is a video that you guys have been asking for a while now. I'm with my agent, Josh Karabasakis.
Strong Greek last name.
And here we also have Cody. He's just chilling on the side here. He's going to be watching us. And we're going to be basically talking about, you know, how to contact agents, how to find agents, you know, the best ways you can communicate with them. And Josh is just going to be basically going through all the points for you guys. So you guys stay tuned, pay attention. If you need to write some stuff down, make sure you do. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video before we get started. So let's go.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in here. Joshua Karabasakis, licensed agent, Eikon Sports Group with Canada Soccer. The first point we're going to go over is how you find an agent. Like many things, there's a lot of different ways to find an agent. I'm going to go over what I think are the best methods as an agent, you know, being contacted daily by multiple players from different regions around the world. And the beauty of agencies, representation, especially in football, is it's so global these days that, you know, knowing the different methods can get you a long way. You know, it could get you in the door in a whole new continent, new country, whatever the case may be. So I would say first and foremost, one of the great ways to find an agency, know about an agency, is using a database like Transfer Market, where they'll list agents in certain countries, where they're licensed, what players they manage. That way you can see, listen, what clubs do these agents actually have connections with, what players do they manage at those clubs. So that's one way. I mean, another way, obviously, social media is a powerful tool, so Twitter, Instagram. In my opinion, social media maybe isn't the most effective way because there's just so many people on Instagram, on Twitter, you know, fake accounts, those things that, you know, you really have to have. If I see a verified, you know, tick mark, for example, maybe I'll know that's, you know, that's a verified player, that's a real player, and I'll take it a little bit more serious. But usually social media is a bit more difficult. LinkedIn is a powerful tool, obviously just networking purposes in general. It's a great way to contact an agent. Usually when I get a message on LinkedIn, I know it's, you know, someone who's serious. They're taking their career serious and they've gone and done the research to find me. So that's a good way. And I think, you know, what's important on LinkedIn is to put as much information in your bio as possible about yourself as a footballer, even your education history, things like that. If you went to college, you know, all those things matter because agents want to know people before they work with them. Another powerful tool, obviously, you could send emails. Again, try to make them personal, not just a classic copy paste that you're sending to 50 other agents. You know, be sincere in your approach and also make it unique. Like it's like anything, contacting someone, make it personal. So that would be advice as well. And then a big one really is word of mouth. And I think this is probably, as an agent, the best way to be contacted. So let's say Willie's played, you know, growing up with someone, I'm managing Willie. He puts in a word about the player to me, you know, says, hey, can I give your contact information to this player? He's a good player, tells me about him, puts in a word, and then that starts the conversation. That will always make it a little bit easier as an agent and a player starting that first, you know, dialogue, because there's just familiarity, there's trust, especially if it's a client. You know, obviously you work with a client because you trust them, you value their opinion as a footballer. So yeah, word of mouth for me is a big one. Of course, another way too, right? Like, if you're on the same team as a player and you know they have an agent and you see that they're doing good work, maybe in markets that you're interested in, obviously the agent's going to be watching those games. So if you're playing well, maybe the agent's just going to reach out to you that way. And I think that's really the last way. A good agent isn't just waiting for someone to come to them. Sometimes you have to approach players. And of course, you know, you want to do the research to make sure they're not already working with an agent, but if you're performing well, generally speaking, there will be agents around, and the good agents will find you. You know, they employ scouts, they do their own recruitment. It's like anything, they'll find you if you're performing. So yeah, those are kind of the different ways you can get contacted by an agent, find an agent. Yeah, why having an agent is important. Again, there's a lot of reasons. I'll try and go through as many as possible. So the first one for me that makes having an agent so important is taking the emotion out of contract negotiations, keeping your football or whatever sport really that you're playing kind of separate from the business side. I think as a player, you're already so busy, you're already so focused on your craft, worrying about the business side is difficult. And then as an athlete in general, not just a footballer, obviously you're always believing in yourself, you're always confident. Sometimes bringing that to the negotiation table can ruin relationships with a manager, with a sporting director, with a CEO, whoever it is you're negotiating with, and things can kind of get personal. I think having an agent that you trust, that you know is going to fight for you, and letting them handle that stuff is just always better from a business professional standpoint. Another big one, especially in football, is planning career pathways. Having someone who's realistic and objectively looking at where you're at now and where you could get, and kind of mapping out those steps throughout your career that you want to progress to, and having a timeline in mind as well. So that's also very important. I think as a player, if you're having a strong season, you're coming out of contract, maybe it's midway through the season, an agent can actually start networking on your behalf earlier rather than waiting until your contract's expired and you're trying to scramble to find your next club. So having someone being proactive that's in your corner, once your contract's within 6 months of expiry, an agent's within his rights to talk to a club. So that's another club, a prospective club. So that's important. Also, your career outside of the game, right? Outside of sport, you can have endorsement deals. Like with Willie, for example, Body Logics is something we secured for him. He's got his YouTube channel. We try and support with that when we can, obviously. So those are important things. And then also planning for a career afterwards, right? Like in football, if you can have a 10-year career, that's amazing. 15 even better. But obviously, us especially, being a newer agency that's very hands-on with our clients, I try to think about what type of opportunities lie ahead for them after the game, because you don't want to just end your career and then what's next. If you can kind of transition smoothly between both when the time's appropriate, obviously you want to focus on your craft as much as possible, but having someone that's already looking at those steps for you is very, very important. Like I said, your career as an athlete isn't infinite, so it's good to have someone that's already looking at those things for you. Yeah, and I think otherwise also just nowadays especially, there's a lot of pressure on athletes to succeed, to perform. Obviously, so much more connected, so many more eyeballs on you. Just having an outlet to talk to someone, it's very, very important. And having someone who will just be honest with you and tell you maybe what's true and what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear is very important as well. So I think those are kind of the key reasons you need an agent.
Alright guys, some very, very important points there, as Josh stated. And if you have any other questions or concerns about it, you can mention me down below in the comments, and I'll try to get to them as fast as I can. But right now, what we're also going to do is go through some questions you guys have asked in the community post, and then we'll just conversate about it and answer them to the best of our abilities. So the first question here, this is by Ryan Conway, and he asked, what should you specifically look for in an agent, and how to tell if it's a scam or if he or she is legit?
Okay, I think dissecting that question, I'll answer the second part first. How to know if they're legit. There's different tools you can use. Obviously, nowadays marketing is so important, imperative for any business, so people are obviously able to portray themselves in a certain way. Maybe it's not always accurate, right? So I think most important is looking at who their current client base is, doing your research, really diving deep. Like this, I think what people need to realize when they sign with an agent, it's not like a small step. You're signing a contract, it's legally binding most of the time, and you're really making a big choice. So you need to do your research as much as possible. Looking at their website, looking at their history as far as negotiations they've concluded with clubs on behalf of their current clients, setting up Zoom meetings with them, like face-to-face, or meeting face-to-face if possible. Picking their brain about so many different things and knowing the answers before you pick their brain, so you're not just eating up whatever they say. I think that's really important, and most importantly, looking at who their current clients are you know, looking at their testimonials from those clients, you know, even speaking to them directly, just finding out as much as you can.
What should you look for specifically in an agent?
What you should look for in an agent? Yeah, that's a good question. I think you need to know that it's going to be someone that's, one, viewed as a professional in the industry, someone who's going to have your best interest in mind at all times, someone who's going to fight for you, someone you can trust. Like, you know, it's cliche to say, but you really do need to find someone you can trust. I don't think there's necessarily like a true or a clear-cut path to know that. I think you kind of, as a person, intrinsically know who you can and can't trust after building relationships. So maybe it's just getting to know an agent for a few months and not even signing right away. I think any good agent will talk to a guy, like, you know, for a few years before they potentially sign, right? So I think that's how you can find out if they're the right agent for you, knowing what you want to accomplish in your career, and maybe not even telling them that right away, but asking them, what do you think I can accomplish in my career? And kind of compare, where do those two things line up? Are we on the same page? Are we miles off? Can we meet in the middle? You know, all those things.
And also, just to add to that, like, for example, he stated, you know, building relationship. We talked probably for like several months before we actually decided to do business together, because I wanted to grow that relationship and, you know, earn each other's trust. So don't feel like you have to rush, and the second you get in contact with an agent, you want to sign with him, whatever, you take your time, get to know each other, and things will kind of just fall into place that way.
Exactly.
Okay, so the second question here, this is by Ruben Pollard. He asked, at what point of your soccer career did you decide to hire an agent? So for me, you know, I've always wanted an agent, you know, throughout my college career, because I knew I wanted to go professional, and I knew that I needed to make that step in finding an agent. So, you know, I was talking to like a bunch of players and friends that, you know, worked with Eikon Sports, worked with Josh, and, you know, just getting a feel for it, asking questions, you know, is this somebody trustworthy? And, you know, I only heard good things. So as soon as my season was over, we got on a lot of meetings right away, and, you know, after a couple weeks I just decided to sign, and everything's been going very smooth. But like I say, it's never something to rush into. It's never something to stress yourself over, because a lot of players, you know, they do have agents, and a lot of players don't have agents, and they're very successful. But I think if you're gonna want an agent, you have to really take your time into finding the best one. Alright, so third question here, this is by KL Nation, and he asked, how much do agents cost, and when's a good time to start looking for one in college?
Alright, good question, good question. How much does an agent cost? I mean, it can vary. Some agents, and this isn't the right way to do it, and I mean, to be honest, it goes against regulations, but some agents will charge an upfront fee, for example. Even just joining the agency, which is not the way to do it. Be wary of those agents, because they could be charging $5,000 up front, and if you're only making $40,000 on your contract, like your first pro deal, that's a lot of money to give up front. On top of that, you're paying them up front. Are they really going to be working hard for you to find you that club if they know that they've already secured their fee, for example, right? So how an agent normally would make money, and in most markets it's becoming common practice, the agent signs you to a contract or representation agreement. There's a pre-negotiated fee that's in that contract. I'm not going to get into the fees specifically that we would charge, but you could really see anything from 3 to 10% depending on the agency. And in most cases, the club will actually pay the agent's fee directly, so it doesn't need to come out of the player's pocket. So, I mean, again, a lot of it is based on how much you make as a player, and that's how it should be. That's why I say if a player, if an agency is trying to charge you up front, it's not the fair way to do it, because you don't know what their contract's going to look like. It should always be based off what they're making, and that's what you're going to get. So yeah, that's how much an agent costs, I guess. And then a good way to start looking for one in college is very similar to the path Willie took. I think once you're, say, in your senior year, or, you know, maybe you decide you want to leave college early, whenever you know that time is right for you to try to step into the pro game and make that jump, start talking to players that are managed by certain agents. Obviously you look at agencies directly, but obviously with respect to eligibility, you want to be careful with the conversations you have with agents. So that's why I say better to maybe contact the actual players they manage, find out as much as you can about the agency before you finish your eligibility or are done college. And then as soon as you're done college, if you know you want to go pro, start setting up calls, start setting up meetings with those agents right away. Get to know them, you know, try and have a few options you're considering, not just one, you know, better to see what's out there. you know, obviously, if you have someone you trust already because you had a personal relationship with them before you went to college, that's a different story. But I would say as soon as you know you're going to go pro, or you want to go pro, and it's realistic, start looking at, you know, these different agencies, start kind of planning who you're going to contact when the time is right.
Okay, the fourth question here, this is by Keith G, and he asks, how do agents decide who they take on and represent as a client?
Another good question. And this is one as an agent you figure out early on, and you might even listen, it's like anything in life, you might make a mistake here or there, it happens. Really an agent is looking for someone that has the right attitude, right personality, right work ethic. You know, Willie, this guy works hard, right? I knew that from the beginning. So for me, that made it a lot easier to commit to working for him. And ultimately, the harder a client works and the harder a player works that you're managing, it's just going to motivate you to work harder on their behalf. So I think, like anything, an agency, it's a business. You want someone who's going to put in the same effort as you're putting in on their behalf, you know, in respect to their career. So that for me is key. Having someone who you know works hard, you know, in the off season, are they trying to get better, or are they, you know, on a multi-year deal and you kind of sense that their personality type is more like, you know what, I have guaranteed money coming next year, I'll worry about it when I'm a free agent.
Alright guys, that's basically it for today's video. Hopefully you guys, you know, got a lot of points and, you know, took something very important away from this video. And yeah, like I said, if you guys have any other questions or concerns, you know, comment down below, and me and Josh can probably look at them and try to get some replies for you guys. But yeah, thank you so much again for watching this video. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. You know, I'm gonna have Eikon Sports, I'm gonna have all their business inquiries down below. You guys can email them, and yeah, that's basically gonna be it. So you guys be safe, stay determined, driven, and disciplined in your goals every single day. Don't give up, keep working hard, and Will Matthews, and see you guys next video. Peace.
Why you be hating and peeping my moves? We don't play by the rules. Telling your story, you say it's the truth, but I see no proof. Turn on my shit, make it blow off the roof. Giving the party a boost. Had to go crazy, I'm back in the booth. Talking my shit, I got something to prove. Destined for greatness, knew that as a youth. Started out bad, but now I got the juice. Checks every week, now we keep it on.